afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. We're here, we're live, trying to be maybe loud, maybe not too loud. I'm not too sure what the guy in the kitchen thinks, but we're here for Sorare Sevens, and yeah, good to see everyone here. It sounds like we've had a great day of winners and losers. And again, when I was here last year, every single player that shows up to the game, the first thing they say is, "Oh, I've not played in about 2 years," or I've no, and it's all the heavy legs and all the timber that comes off at the end of it. And it's no different this time as well. We're still blaming surfaces, we're blaming weather. I don't really hear many refereeing decisions or whatever going the other way, but definitely a lot of catches for negative decisives and some positive decisives. So it's good to hear everyone had a great time. And thanks to Mark, Az, and all the guys again for putting on a great event today. And yeah, we've got tons of stuff donated by Sorare. There'll be a bit of a raffle and all the rest of it later on. I think last year when I came to this, it was like, me and John have been to a few things. Also, I've met John, I've met McBride and a few other people in passing. But like, this is like the first time I managed to come to like a full room of people that, that I didn't know faces, or, it's a big collection of the community of Sorare managers from all over the world. As it is again, people traveling over for it, which is fantastic. And it's like, it's a crazy wee game we all play. It's a crazy wee community that we've all built, and we all kind of participate in for better or for worse, for losing hair or growing hair, or whatever, depending on where you're at. In the last couple of months, it's one of those times where I know for myself, and many of you guys maybe catch the content once in a while or whatever, but you get a wee bit introverted. It's a wee bit like, what am I doing? What am I playing the game for? What does my gallery actually look like? What does it say about my strategy in the game, or how likely is it to go on and do stuff? And with a lot of changes we've had over the last couple of months, it feels like everyone's kind of uniformly been in the in the dark, or in the wilderness, as it were. And it's been really interesting for me to see, certainly like over the last 2 weeks or so, especially all the developments of, like, I don't know if I'd call it sentiment or whatever necessarily, but like, we're all avid football fans, number one. We're all probably a little bit off a rocker if we're going to be coming here for sevens and all the rest of it. And so there's a very intense game. It's a game where you're buying cards, you're trading cards, you're projecting future. I heard someone talk about it quite well on, I think it was Laird mentioning it on someone's Medium post, but like, we're trying to predict lineups sometimes before even the manager knows the lineups ahead of the weekend, because of the way deadlines go. You're trying to see into the future for transfers and all the rest of it, and it can very quickly like run away from you. It can very quickly like start off with we're running for just playing for fun, and then very quickly it's right, okay, where's the money at, and where's the trading of the cards, and this the bots have done me over and all the rest of it. But with all the changes and all the kind of redevelopments or whatever that's happened over the last couple of weeks, it does feel like the number one thing that's kind of like risen through all of it is like the enjoyment of the game, the actual enjoyment of the gameplay itself, and the actual connection to teams, clubs, tomato players, that kind of thing. And that's the reason I started playing the game, and the reason, like, for some of you that maybe know kind of me and a little bit what I'm about over the last couple of years, I've like thrown myself just like straight into it, because it's a game that I think like every football fan that's like above being passive has something they could gain from it, in terms of like just an extra kind of touch into their team, or even for me, like initially it was a big replacement for like traditional gambling and that kind of thing. For some of you that maybe know me better than others, like I'm a terrible person at organising myself, period. I was even at the wrong venue today. I went to Falkirk Stadium rather than coming into here, which was good crack. And initially for me, it was just all about, not wasting money and not blowing money on coupons and in play stuff and all the rest of it, and just trying to organise myself a little bit better, while still like giving in to my passion of like being nuts about football and thinking that I'll be able to predict all the results this weekend, and I know what guy's going to go and have some great form and all the rest of it. So for me, like, I really have quite liked a lot of the, I don't know if I would say off-pitch developments that we've had over the last couple of weeks, in terms of like, the community vibe, and just all the people that are kind of here in that respect, and everyone who I come and meet, Twitter handles and faces of everyone here today. It's it's an absolute community of legends, and I don't say that just because you're all here and you might toss me out the window or something like that. But genuinely, like, everyone is like a stand-up guy. Everyone's brand new, and for any that are in any groups and all the rest of it, the amount of just open friendships that are there to be had is absolutely fantastic. A big thing that does come up quite a lot, I suppose, in the last couple of weeks, if I can try and maybe make this a wee bit kind of half contenty rather than kind of preachy or whatever, I suppose, is we've had a big development in terms of in-season and classic being, the way that the whole leaderboard, the whole prize pool, everything's now divided. And one thing that I hear, again, a lot of people saying quite quickly is like, I'll be a classic guy, or I'll be an in-season guy, and all the rest of it. And with the way the divisions are kind of laid out, it's kind of everyone's the same kind of start point, and that if that makes sense. And I like the fact that you can kind of focus on precisely what you want, and ultimately it's not like this halfway house between being about 3 or 4 different things. It does kind of firmly feel like it's moved into being, you know, the kind of space where it's at, where you've got that classic element for cards and all the rest of it, and seasons for money. It's just, you know, I think a positive development for the game in general. I think last time we were here as well, I was talking about something similar, talking about the importance of, you know, like the big cards in your gallery, the ones that are the most expensive. They won't be probably as expensive this year as they were last year. But the importance of them being guys that, like, you know, you actually like, you're bought into, and you're going to have and hold for, you know, within reason, for as long as possible. And I think over the last year, that's definitely something that I see more and more and more from people, in terms of like nailing in a club collection, or really just, you know, screw it, I'm just going to get the team that I support and back them because I know I can predict the lineup, or I like being able to play rivals with them, or play a Division 3 or a Division 4 kind of thing, which is, again, I think, you know, just only makes the game somewhat better. So I think like over the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of changes that a lot of people have had like teething problems with, and had, or not even teething problems, but, you know, had their own kind of identity to rediscover, I suppose, SO5 wise. You know, what does our club go for? What does it look like? And all the rest of it. But yeah, this is normally the point after I've been talking and I've been on for a little while. I have a wee glance in the live chat, and I think, right, what are people shouting back at me? Have I got anything wildly wrong, or are people in agreement and all the rest of it? So I suppose, like, if there's any of you guys, you know, like this weekend, I don't know, I'm probably the only one in the room, but I think I'm suffering relegations across the board with the Celtic result today and all the Celtic cards that I put out. So I came into the weekend absolutely on cloud nine, thinking I've got D1 teams here, and Celtic are going to smash Rangers, and I've got some cards over here that'll do this and will do that, and all the rest of it. And yeah, as I said before, you now I'm getting relegated all over the bat, and there's probably not much getting picked up. But yeah, in terms of like this weekend, I don't know, I'll throw it out and tell you, see if you can give me something back here. But has anyone else done as bad as me this game week? Has anyone else absolutely fallen down relegations? You, Hoodwink? Oh yes. Cecina didn't save you this week.
Sorry. Cecina injured. My Shonan goalie sent off. My Kashima goalie error led to go. My Digger goalie dropped, and relegations everywhere. It's life. But I got lower threshold on rare. 330 points. I made the right choice.
All about those lower freshies. I was surprised Cecina didn't save you this week then, so that's...
No, he'd done his back in. It looked like a knee injury, or it was Kee Sung-young that fouled him. It looked like a knee or a hamstring injury, but it says it's a back injury. Didn't look like it, but...
So that's that one done.
He's knackered.
Yeah. Anyone else absolute shockers or any game weeks? Any war stories here today? Yeah, we got one here.
It was actually looking decent for me, but Lord Hans ill in the last second, so he was my captain as well. So pretty unfortunate there. Everyone else scored or got like a positive decisive, and now my captain is just at home doing nothing. So that's quite annoying.
That's a killer, and I think that's another big thing that's been kind of circling around conversations in the community and all the rest of it over the last few weeks is DNPs, rolling locks, subs. All this chat is kind of coming up again. I don't know about you, but like when I hear this conversation coming back up again, I think it's a bit redundant when we've got 3 lineups in these competitions. I just kind of felt, not against the Vatican thing around, it's just that's kind of brought up a subject in my mind almost, you know. But I feel like the 3 lineups thing, it's kind of that's what you're mitigating against the random DNPs to some extent. That's kind of what I felt. Maybe I got a bit of cheer from across the room. Are we in favour of subs? No cheers. Are we in favour of? Yeah, I'm totally there. What about rolling locks? We like that? No, we don't like that either. No, fair enough. I'm totally all about it. I think DNPs is a huge part of the game. I think DNPs make the world go round. I think it's, you know, for every winner there's a loser when it comes to DNPs, and it's a huge part of what just opens the game up and stops it from being, you know, the Titan 5 that you just smash out in the game week, and if you have them you're winning, and if you didn't, you didn't. And then you've got a reserve guy to save them in case, you know, some unforeseen Vanaken gets the flu, or Cecina does his back, or, you know, any of these are kind of things that happen. Yeah. I think, that's all I've kind of got to say about DNPs and subs and stuff like that. Like I said last time, guys, I do my best for this because I say I'm not a live performer or a stand-up or anything like that, but I thought it'd be good crack for us to get going. with like the next. What's that? Depends. I think you're up next. We've lost my bride. I think you know, like again, I'm happy for this to get passed around. We can do a bit more live chat action or whatever. But I guess probably the only thing I could give you off my kind of own steam up here, in that sense, is kind of looking forward. I've been kind of getting my gallery in order for the last, well, really since all the announcement stuff, all the roadmap stuff came out over the last few weeks. Really thinking about the beginning of next season rather than trying to kind of milk the cow on both sides in this handover period. You know, have my gallery cooking for a classic and then go and get an in-season team or two. Everything I've been doing has been more kind of based around, you know, that kind of period in August where everything will transition over and be like the new system in itself. And this kind of, I keep calling it handover because I just think it's pure cringe calling it a transition, like, you know, just in this day and age. So I think in this handover period that like, I've quite enjoyed like so far, and I will continue to over the next couple of weeks, and I'd advise everyone here to be kind of the same, is like really try and put yourself in that position of, we're in August. Like this is like the only, this is the only parameters that exist for my club. Is this is the only place to go and, you know, if I've got 3 super rares, 4 rares, 4 limiteds, whatever, this is the only place I can go and capture cash because lower thresholds and all the rest of it will be kind of gone by that point. And equally for card capture or card acquisition, whatever you want to call it, and in the classic mode, because the most frustrating thing, the number one thing I think is the most frustrating thing about a strategy, building a gallery and all the rest of it on Sorare, is that you think you're done or you think you're almost there but done. And normally that feeling kind of comes quite close to the, you know, go time, you know, when the season's about to start or the division change is about to happen. And then at that moment you quickly maybe think, oh, actually, I could have done with an extra goalkeeper, or my captains are all naff, or I don't have enough forward power or whatever. And so rare, like 9 times out of 10, everyone who's winning might be on the leaderboard, it might be in the marketplace or whatever. Every person that wins is prepared. Every person that wins has been buying their cards, been putting their strategy together is somewhat ahead of time. And the longer you can kind of put yourself a kind of ahead of time in this regard, I think is the best way to be going, because like I see people that now, and, you know, like charge on to everyone that does it. But when I seen people like running out, like getting lots of in-season stuff together, particularly maybe not limited because it's also a different marketplace, but a little bit higher up, I just think for the small window of opportunity you've got there's not as much value on, you know, kind of capturing that in. But the value for capturing these things in the now is the, you know, like the collection bonus that you can get from them, buying them from instant buy, which is good fun, or auctions and rewards and all the rest of it. That can then in turn kind of help you for next season. Because again, you'll probably see it happen a lot more over the next couple of weeks. But in like classic modes, especially in the ones that will win you in-season cards that are actually worth selling in the market, or that will win you in-season cards that will help you in an in-season competition, you need, like as you've probably seen already over the last 2 weeks, I've got 3 relegations this week, obviously we have a bad result, but there is no room for either, you know, there is no, that will kind of have to, you need guys that can you know, bring in a score, can all start, can synergize together. But then you're then going to fight against, because of the way these regions are now, so much more of that kind of Royal Rumble, kind of every man for themselves element, I feel. So the things that will separate is like the DNPs, of course, but then it's those fine margins with captain choices, collection and XP bonuses and everything else. So yeah, that's probably one of the only things I could probably throw at you in that regard. It's just, I think like the best thing to have, you know, in terms of any maintenance or any kind of housekeeping we're doing, or your gallery, your club and all the rest of it, is really just firmly planted in that August position, rather than, you know, like Leicester are playing fucking Rotherham next weekend, or, you know, whatever it might be. Like it normally is throughout the season, you know, but with such huge changes ahead, the number one thing I hate getting the most in a comment on a stream or a DM or whatever is like, you know, my team is fucked now, or my gallery isn't competitive anymore, or all the rest of it. And again, everyone's in the same boat, and to get that, for that to not be a problem come August, I think there's plenty of time to do that. And I think if people are focusing on that, then more people will be probably happier they did than they didn't, kind of thing. So yeah, all looks well for August. And I think, again, probably last thing I would say on that is maybe a wee bit understand. I know from speaking to Sorare directly, I can probably share this with you, is like when a lot of the changes were coming out, you guys will know I was like a big, I still am a big like all-star guy, and I think that's a real kind of core part of the game. I would have liked to remain and stay. I think we'll see it very often in special weeklies and all the rest of it. But I know from when speaking to them around that time, around like why they're doing things and all the rest of it, is like these competitions that they've got laid out for us a little bit now, the in-season and the contender, like they want to put everything into those competitions, like absolutely every card, every shilling, every, you know, crumb of ETH, whatever, so that like if you're going for money, it's all the money's there, and it can be as big and fat of a, you know, prize pot as absolutely possible. And equally for cards, they can have more boxes paying out, and you know they've not said anything specifically to me about box payouts or anything like that. But I just remember when we first got boxes, and I think the rivals boxes, they maybe are like a 10% RNG payout, but the boxes we have now are 5%. So that's just the only reason I think that we might see a bit of an increase on that. But their intention, like with removing these other things, is to make sure that like as many managers can win within reason, and it's not just fucking like it is nowadays in sports and all the rest of it, where you know participation awards galore and all the rest of it. There still has to be that kind of striving and that kind of you know, pushing up the leaderboards to get the better prizes and that sort of thing. So I think like what we're seeing now in terms of the prize pool, because like when I look at Super Rare, for example, and I know that's not many people's concern, but like the cash for it is shit. There's just not that many spots and all the rest of it. And I think that's a good example of what you kind of see across the board. Is it's just like a very much watered down version, or a very kind of tame version of what I expected it to look like, and probably what it will look like when they've not got their commitment on caps and all stars and thresholds to, you know, users like ourselves that have been here prior to the changes or anything like that. So I'm excited more than anything. I always say this in life, like excitement and nerves kind of run on the same kind of channel, and it's just kind of like depends what mood you're in perhaps, or what your perception is on a thing. But I'm kind of at that stage now where I'm quite excited. I'm hoping, like when I seen all the money stuff coming out, I expected like top spot to be like 10 grand, different spots, you know, different divisions, D1s, and like thousands of pounds, big money prize pots, you know, down to this place you get a decent wad of cash. And I do think the kind of version of what we've got now is a little bit tepid, a bit watered down. So I'm kind of excited to get a big surprise, and maybe it'll be egg on my face and it'll be more than fool me. Maybe it won't be too different to what we see now, but that's kind of my expectations and kind of my, I suppose, hopes for the off season, kind of going forward into like the new Sorare, into August, into the new season. So yeah, I'll kind of take a breath. And is there anyone that wants to throw something at me in the live chat that's here with us today? Anyone that wants to grab the mic and go for it?
I'm really curious how your thoughts are about the rewards in all these divisions. Do you think they are divided in a decent amount, spread it out on the divisions or not?
Like 1 to 4? And
yeah, because for example, I hear some people that have an insane score in Division 4 that are first, and then if they would have put that in Division 1, they would have not gotten that much, to be honest, or anything.
Sure.
So what do you think about the rewards that are divided in those divisions?
My kind of main fear around the changes was that the divisions wouldn't be good enough to save all of us from like the big power galleries that can put 3 lineups out, and you find lineup 3 ends up in some other divisions and all the rest of it. To answer it straight, like I don't think there's enough divisions in, I can't comment on limited, but certainly in rare. Maybe super rare, it's kind of on the edge, but I'd have thought in rare there'd have been like an extra division, as it were, because when you think about divisions, and I spent a lot of time trying to kind of map this out in my mind before it came, but see when you look at the scale for everything in terms of like the fixed percentage on promotion and relegation and all the rest of it, if you lay it out and you put yourself there and you put your 3 teams there and you put your pals there and you kind of imagine, you know, we all knew you'll be ranked in a division, team 2 is below that, third team's always in the end. When you kind of walk it through a few game weeks, because of the guaranteed, like you'll go up and you'll go down depending on scores and all the rest of it, there is always going to be this bathtub in the division somewhere where it's going to catch you and you're not going to be able to move out of it. So it'll be like, maybe it'll be between division 2 and 3, or maybe it'll be between 1 and 2 or 4 and 3 or whatever. And that bathtub, like you're either then going to be in a position of you're going to need to get better teams, and what that means we can talk about, I suppose, to kind of break out of that bathtub and kind of get into Division 1, into the top divisions or whatever. My worry is the bathtub then out could be like Division 2 and 3, which is like right in the middle of like 4 rare divisions. The super rare, I don't think it's as much of a thing. Unlimited, I say I can't really, I'm not close enough to it. So I think the bathtub, you kind of want that to be Division 2 and 3. And then you've got a Division 5 probably no one's going to be in because 50% of people get promoted and it's just teams will rush out of it all the time. And then you've got like a Division 4 and 3 that's still kind of like I was saying in the very first game week, because we have 4 divisions, and there was like a kind of whale shelter, I was kind of calling it, in that Division 3. There was just no, you kind of want there to be an organic place where that will probably happen anyway. The good teams will get away from it, and you know, the kind of average teams can maybe punch out of it, and maybe if they have a bad week, they fall into it. So I think they're probably, maybe when they've got more ability to pay out cards, we might see a 5th division come into Rare. But next season again as well, this is a big thing I was trying to see on content as soon as the split got announced. Every card, and that's kind of the point of what I was saying a moment ago. Every card that we own in this room is classic. Every card you're going to buy tomorrow is classic. Every card you're going to buy all the way up until August will be classic, if you get me. And then they're all in that classic division. None of them go into in season anymore. So I think I think like, in terms of the score disparity, I seen one on Twitter earlier today. Like somebody, what was it? They maybe smashed in Premier League, or they not in Premier League. They maybe got like, it was a Man City team, and they got like 20 quid, and it was like, oh, if they put it in Champion, it'd have been 400, you know, all the rest of it. I think that is just an unfortunate, if you can call it that, just kind of part of the beast. We've kind of seen that a million times over in like underdog competitions, and you win a tier 1, and the guy smashed out 500 with his, you know, L1540 squad with the limited keeper in it, and it's like, oh, if you'd played that in All Star, you'd you know, so it's definitely, I don't know if the scores kind of iron into the maybe the issue I've kind of answered back with there, I suppose. But I think, like, in short, I don't think divisions are fixed. I don't think they're set. I think they're still, like we've seen with Sorare, they very much learn on the job. Everything's a kind of live beta, which I definitely think that's kind of the way I'm treating this kind of handover period thing, and I think the same is probably kind of true for them. So I would hope that the Rare gets an extra division in it, because otherwise it will be very difficult to get better boxes, get better cards, I think. That's a good one, man. Thanks. Anything else in the live chat? Anyone else? Oh, go on, John.
Quinny, talk to us about the Euros.
The Euros.
Yeah, it hasn't been mentioned. So, like, what are you expecting, or what do you want, or what do you not want, or just going on a Euros spiel?
So their wise are Scotland.
Yeah, Sorare. No, it's fuck that.
I don't know. I think that there's probably, I think there's so much focus and attention from them, game development wise, on special weeklies, and you know, that's the kind of answer to most things. So I think like what the Global Cup was a huge success in terms of like having it was the first time you could actually just play the game for free, pick kind of any player you wanted and have something going. So I think they would be probably stupid to not replicate that kind of Global Cup kind of vibe in terms of having a common game. Ideally, we could all play, because we've all just been retired from commons and all the rest of it, in case some of you might have missed that. So I would like a common, like, we can all just get stuck into it, and maybe we're going to go meet Zidane or Messi or something at the end of it. But I definitely would love them to bring that back in, because they're definitely going to do, like, special weeklies and cards and places. Like, we've got the Continental Nights thing coming up next week. That's definitely, like, a kind of a dry run, a test into that sort of thing, I would think. But again, me personally, I just always think it's bananas to go and buy a full international team. I think you want to kind of try and get an international team together that probably resembles players you would have maybe bought anyway, and then it's like, well, just getting 1 or 2 more pieces to make it a team is fine. But for anyone that's not played in international football in Sorare before, we're quite fortunate we get youth group football as well. So I probably had maybe about 7 or 8 international tournaments on Sorare, maybe at this point, maybe 6. But after the group stage, you're fucked, like, because half the teams are out, if not more. So it's one of these things that leading up to it, you know, if you're not buying a Germany, if you're not buying a France or a Scotland, or someone that's going to go really far in the tournament, then it's sits for you that one for a wee minute, doesn't it? Then it's we've kind of seen it a few times. Maybe a bit of a fool's errand, kind of building the whole thing out for it. So I would love a common part, because that keeps us all into it the whole way to the final again, like did in the Global Cup, and I think there's some cool prizes like IRL experiences and all the rest of it. I would really like that for sure. Yeah, bring on the Euros. Any more? Lovely, guys. Yeah, been an absolute pleasure. Thanks to everyone that's kind of gave me the time up here to talk some nonsense and shout at yous and all the rest of it. Honestly, I normally say kind of the intro kind of part of this to warm myself up, but we did a nice job with the song at the beginning. It wasn't really necessary, but sincerely and truly, like, I'm not like a mad big YouTube channel or, you know, or anything like that, but I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed to be this side of the camera, have you guys, hopefully, you know, everyone here like subscribe to the videos, tune into the streams, the videos, click the links, and support anything that's getting kind of done on the channel, because like over the last couple of years, like life for me has been pretty mad. Like if I could just be straight with you, I've just turned 36. I've got 2 kids and a wife and everything that goes along with that. And for the most part of my life, I've always been self-employed. I've been, you know, kind of one of these guys that's always fancied himself to kind of have a business or to do something and not have a boss. Kind of, always used to say, meeting people for the first time. Like my trade is you know, like I started in sales when I left school, so I didn't like get an apprenticeship. I didn't get a degree or anything like that. So I used to always say my trade is talking. You know, it's just you know, I'm quite comfortable doing it and all the rest of it. And I count myself beyond more than extremely lucky that we've got a fantastic community of people like this. There's a game that I can do this kind of stuff with, and you know, maybe with some other content that we're doing, you know, we're going to games and all the rest of it. But it's genuinely one of those things where if you have seen the studio kind of on screen or whatever, I maybe need to do a better job of kind of displaying that or whatever. But I've got like a little shop. It's like a little unit. A few of these have been there, I think. Yeah, so like it's pretty chunky. Eh? It's like this, like where I record. It's kind of like the size of this room here, and then I've got an RV room at the back with a toilet and a kitchen in it and stuff like that. And it's a great old size. And honestly, like every day when I walk in there and I open the keys and I lift the shutter and all the rest of it, and I turn the lights on, it's probably maybe over the last month or two, but it's like I call it work and I don't feel embarrassed or like an imposter or anything like that. Like it does kind of feel like work now because I've been doing it for like 2 or 3 years, but it is like beyond a shadow of a doubt, like a crazy thing I've kind of found myself in, and you guys are all to thank for that, you know, and that's never ever lost on me. I've responded to every DM I possibly can. I do, you know, everything I possibly can for anyone that needs any hand or anything like that. So again, any chance I get to meet people in person, thank yous all, honestly, sincerely, it really means the world to me. And yeah, like for me, my family, for everyone, like words can't describe it, it means a lot. And thanks again for listening to me chat some gibberish with you today. Thanks again. Yeah.